Howdy, howdy, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up to this stream. It was put on a little bit later than I would have wanted. So it might be a little while before people start to join. So while I wait for the people to join, this is obviously the speech is all for people watching this after it's been posted. Just going to go into the usual spiel of stuff. So if any of you are interested in any one-to-one help with me, you need some help with your situation, can't quite work past any blocks or limiting beliefs or core beliefs or anything like that, by all means, down below in the description of this live stream, there is the links to my link tree where you can see the links to my website where I offer my coaching solutions. If you're looking for more help from me, but a cheaper alternative to coaching, in that same link tree is the link to my membership, where there is the worksheets, the routines, the full Manifest Your X-Back guide, and tons of other stuff. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And down in that same link tree also is the link to my ebook, which is basically going through some parts of manifestation that are widely forgotten, but in my opinion, make a huge difference. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend you go check that out as well. Follow all my social medias, which again are in that same link tree. And we've just hit 10,000 subscribers, but I'm going to do a little bit more on that in a second when there's more people actually in the live stream to sort of talk about it. But thank you very much, everyone, for the support on this channel to get me to the 10,000. So like I said, I'm going to speak about that a little bit more in a minute, but I just want to get into some of these comments now because I will only be on this live stream today for 45 minutes or so. But yeah, so getting into some of what is put. So Black Cat Manifestation says, hi, howdy, howdy, Black Cat. Thank you for being here. H says, Matt, need help. What's that? What do you need help with? Victory 3002 Play says, hi, everyone. Howdy, howdy. Thank you for being here. While we wait for some more comments to come in, if you guys could like the stream, and if you're watching this post, can you comment it on it as well? Because it just, the likes and the comments help push it out to the algorithm. Same thing for every video as well, not just live streams. If you're ever watching on one of my normal videos, it really helps if you could drop it a like and a comment. So if you're watching this post, please can go ahead and do that. It just helps the channel grow. Lily M says, hello. Howdy, howdy, Lily. Glad to have you here. H says, my SP's co-worker just got transferred to my workplace. He came over to me and said hello and introduced. I just kept on fearing. I'll wait. I'm assuming there's more that you're going to say. I'll wait a minute or two, see if you say anything else. Elena says, hello. Howdy, howdy, Elena. Glad to have you here. Black Cat Manifestation says, can I ask a question? In your experience, when, if ever, do manifestations fail? The only time that I've ever seen them, quote unquote, fail is when the individual doesn't have the discipline or consistency or persistence to keep going until it comes in. Now, I don't think fail is the right word to describe it. I think it would be more left aside is probably a better way to describe it, because I don't think it's that the manifestation itself has failed. I think it's the individual themselves that haven't been consistent enough to impress it. That's what the issue is. But I find that that generally only really happens when the individual doesn't, pull their head out the gutter, for want of a better term, and actually stay on their affirmations or on their visuals or on their mental diet and such things like that. H said that he will say something about SP, and you say 4P, but I'm assuming you mean 3P. Well, fear is just one of those things where it's the expectation of an outcome. You're essentially experiencing the feelings of an outcome before the outcome has even happened, kind of. So if you're in this state of fear for him saying those kinds of things, you're just placing your awareness on an outcome that isn't even in existence right now. You're essentially allowing yourself to feel the negatives that you would feel if that event happened now, when the event isn't even in play. So what I would recommend for you is find a way to remove your awareness from it, as in like breath work if you need to, or some kind of anchoring technique to take your attention away from that fear, away from the outcome, and make use of that anytime you can to stop yourself from going down that path, because fear is never going to be a benefit, whether it's a manifestation related thing or just a general day-to-day life thing. You should never fear anything because it's not even in existence yet. There's potential, there's other potential outcomes that could happen. So there's no point fearing it. Take it into consideration if you need to, i.e., if this happens, this is how I'm going to handle it or whatever. But sitting there actively allowing yourself to be internally affected by an outcome that isn't even in existence right now isn't the most optimal thing for you. And I'd recommend finding a way to navigate past those feelings in that moment to benefit either A, your mental state at that time, or B, your manifestation going forward. Black Cat Manifestation says, okay, cool. So when you say persist, does it mean until it presents into the 3D or until you feel as if it's done. So I personally like to go until I see it, because while a lot of people will say, you can go until you feel it's done and then you can stop, and you absolutely can if you want. What I do find, and what I found a lot with working with people on a one-to-one basis, is we often overestimate how good we do manifestation wise and underestimate or underappreciate how bad we can do. We have on average 70,000 thoughts per day. And if you're not in an experience of having your desire yet, and you're experiencing something opposing, quite often the thoughts that you naturally have regarding a desire are going to be more negative if you're experiencing the opposite of what it is that you want. So if you stop doing your affirmations and stop doing all that kind of stuff, you have to at least rely on your ability to be very aware of the thoughts that you're having, so you don't eventually start building up a new opposing story of the old story. Because the beneficial thing of being conscious with your affirmations and such things like that is when you take the time to do them, you're kind of keeping yourself at a positive level playing field. But the second you take that out, you have to essentially rely on your mental diet only to go, oh, I'm thinking a negative thought, let me just take that back in. Oh, I'm thinking a positive thought, let me reside in that. So you absolutely can go until you feel it is done and then just stay true to it by keeping that mental diet. But I personally don't want to take that risk, and I would rather just stay consistent with doing my affirmations until it comes, which is why I like quite often recommend in my videos or in the ones that is mentioned to have a process that feels fun or doesn't feel like a chore. Because if it's something that you could just work into your daily lifestyle and it doesn't make it too difficult, it's a lot easier to persist until it happens, because you don't even feel like you're taking yourself out of anything to get it done. Which is why I'll affirm when I'm doing the washing up or when I'm walking to the car or something stupid like that, because it's not like I have to take myself away from anything I'm doing to keep doing it, but I'm ensuring that I stay kind of just on that positive level playing field. But personal preference, that one, I would say. H says, Matt, I need your POV as a man. What if there would have been a 3P when you were manifesting Katie back? I wouldn't have gone back, but that's just my personal thing. That's not to say that not one should. That's just me. I wouldn't have. A Dog says, howdy, I feel into my wish fulfilled and feel good, but sometimes I get these chest pains. I'm assuming this means pains, or unless pang's a word that I don't know, and get this uncomfortable feeling. I go back into imagination and quell it. Any advice? So I've heard this quite a lot, actually. People have spoken to me saying that they get these like random, like either bursts of anxiety or like pit in their stomach and such things like that. Now, I personally don't get them randomly. I only ever get them when I've placed my awareness either on something happening in front of me or on a thought of an outcome, essentially very similar to what H said with the fearing outcome earlier. Those are the only times that I'll get those bodily reactions. So if you're finding, did you say that you get them randomly? Wish fulfilled and feel good, but sometimes I get these chest pangs and get this uncomfortable feeling. I go back into imagination quite. If it is extremely random, as in like you're having a great day and then all of a sudden it happens, the best thing that I would recommend you doing is just finding a way to handle it when it does happen, i.e., go and do something that you enjoy, meditate for 5 minutes or something like that. Anything to kind of bring yourself back to a level playing field so that you're not sitting there in those feelings. If it is something that is based on thoughts or some kind of physical 3D circumstance, I would recommend finding a way to navigate past that specific circumstance or thoughts to help yourself get through it. So if you're having thoughts of fearing an outcome, reminding yourself of the end result, reminding yourself that that is only a potential outcome, and then reminding yourself of other potential outcomes could be really good. Dwelling in the end result, doing what I said a second ago could also benefit in this situation as well, like having breath work or some other kind of anchoring technique. But whether it's a random feeling or something that you are aware why it shows up, the thing that I would recommend doing is having sort of like a contingency plan for when it does happen, because the last thing that you want to do is just stay sat in those feelings. It would be beneficial for you to find a way through them to then go back onto your end result once you feel better. If we could all like the live stream as well, it's 25 people in here and only 3 likes. It just helps to get pushed out to more people, which is just a small little benefit, and I'd really appreciate it. A says, every time my SP contacts me, oh, it skipped. Hang on, let me go back to that. Every time my SP contacts me, I feel anxious that he's going to go away and start expecting that negative. I can't think of anything else and get rid of this anxiety. 3D feels very real. Did you see anything else under? No, you didn't. So I generally find that people have this kind of reaction slash feeling when they are putting too much of their personal validation into the other person's hands. Now, obviously, yes, we all have desires. We all have people that we want in our lives and such things as that. So, of course, there is going to be that element of, I want you around, don't leave, essentially. But if you can't even have a conversation or receive a text from your specific person without immediately going to, this is it, they're gone, it clearly shows that you're putting too much importance on them being involved in your life anyway. So, what I would recommend you do in this kind of instance is work to validate yourself, work to build up yourself, work to be able to be okay with or without this person. Now, I say that every now and then, and I do get some comments and sometimes some emails of people saying, well, why would I say with or without this person if the intention is to live in the end? Well, if you're in a severe state of need, you're not living in the end effectively anyway, because living in the end is you claiming to already have what it is that you desire to have right now. It's you experiencing internally having what it is that you desire right now. And in there wouldn't be that state of need. There wouldn't be that state of attachment. It would be sheer abundance because it would already be yours. So by being in a lack needy state, you're already not living in the end. Whereas if we can get ourselves to be okay with or without something, we're at least not in the lackful state of needing it. We're on a more neutral playing field of I'm choosing it, but I don't need it, which would then make it better for you to live in the end. If you can get yourself to that point, which usually comes at validating yourself, providing yourself the things that you feel like you're going to get from this individual, building your self worth up to say, even if they did leave, I could get anybody else. You will find it a lot easier to navigate through these conversations without constantly fearing like they're about to leave because you essentially don't care whether they do leave or not. You're just choosing to have them around. And then from there, then you can have a much healthier dynamic than when you need them. People seem to think that the more that you need someone, the more that you talk to them, the more that you're always on their case, the more they're going to love you. But in fact, I actually find it's the opposite. The more that you're okay without them, but make time for them, choose to see them, can have a healthy relationship with or without them, generally speaking, the better the dynamic between the two of you, therefore creating a better and more enjoyable experience. So I would recommend working on yourself and work to provide yourself that kind of validation that you're looking for from them to then be able to be in contact with them without constantly fearing that they're going to leave you. JM says, hello, hope you're well. I am, thank you very much. I recently manifested the SP back as text messages slash friends, but my ultimate goal is to be his long-term romantic partner. What do I do now? Go to the end result. The end result is always going to be where you want to reside in, whether you're manifesting a relationship, money, movement, signs, doesn't matter what it is. If you have a desire, even if the 3D is showing you some of that desire or none of that desire, you want to go to the end result because when your subconscious mind is impressed with the story that you desire to experience, it will get to work putting the pieces to get you there. The more that you're focusing on the lack of having the things that you want, the more that you're focusing on what's going on in front of you right now, or how you're not in your end result, you're just keeping yourself stuck in that place because you're reaffirming that story to your subconscious mind, which is stopping you from progressing forward. So whether you're in movement, no movement, signs, looking for movement, whatever it is, go to the end result because that is where you will then begin to create that outcome for yourself internally, which will then begin to create that outcome for you externally. Mohammed says, happy Saturday on Saturday early afternoon. I hope you're doing well, man. And same with everyone here in the live. Happy Saturday to you too. And yeah, I'm doing very well. Going to be watching the boxing tonight, which is why I've done this live stream a lot earlier than usual. And been extremely busy lately. So I thought I would try and fit this one in because I don't know when I'm going to be able to do another live stream after this one. If we're lucky, maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, overall, it's really good. And hopefully you're having a good time too. Adia, apologies if I said that wrong. Hi, I'm in no contact with my SP for about 2 months, and I don't know what he is doing, or maybe he moved on. The issue is my block that I don't want him if he had someone else during our breakup. I'm really struggling with it, and I'm afraid that if I'm thinking about it, that is my assumption, and that is going to be true. I'm really afraid of these kinds of thoughts. Well, you are in complete control of your mind. So the same mind that has those thoughts that you don't like is the same mind that you have complete control over. So if you know that if he's been with someone else, you wouldn't want him. You've already got a contingency plan in place for if he comes back and says, yes, I've been with someone else. So there's no point doubting or fearing or concerning yourself with the what ifs, because you already know what if and how you would handle it. You may as well give yourself the best possible chances of manifesting the outcome that you actually want by choosing the outcome that you actually want, which is, commitment with this person and, them not having anybody else, or, that kind of stuff. So you may as well reside in that outcome. Like I've said earlier on in the stream, have a way to handle those fears and doubts when they come up. Find something to take your attention away from them, but ultimately remind yourself of that end result and redirect yourself back to it. Because if you already know what's going to happen, if those what ifs are true, there's no point considering them any more than that. And if, yes, it may be a fear and you don't want it to be the outcome, but you've already decided if it is the outcome, how you would handle. So it's literally just wasted time and wasted energy to consider it. So find a way to remove your awareness from it when those doubts and fears come to mind, and then redirect yourself back to the end result and have the discipline and persistence to keep going back to that end result, keep having control over your mind until you get the outcome that you want, or until whatever happens may happen. But ultimately, it takes you being aware that your thoughts are yours to control and only yours to control. So rein it in, have something else to place your awareness on if you need to, go back to the end result. Lily M says, SP is back in contact, but after a few messages, he stopped responding. It's been 3 days. I tried to give it good meaning, and when he didn't initially respond, but I'm sad now. Any advice? Stop focusing on it. Obviously, now I'm with Katie, so it's not really something that I experience anymore. But when I used to sort of talk to people before, if I didn't get responses, I just didn't fucking care. It's just a waste of your time to sit there thinking, like, oh, when are they going to message me? Am I going to hear from them today? Am I going to hear from them today? Go to the end result that you desire to experience, because in your end result, it wouldn't be just text. It would be loving communication. It would be relationship. It would be XYZ thing. So by wasting your time and your mental energy and your mental health as well, because I do find that a lot of people that sit there waiting around for text can generally not have a particularly great time. Stop wasting all of that. Stop wasting all this precious time that you have, and just go to the end result. Reside in that enjoyable scene, the one where it's you two together. You're receiving loving text. You're receiving dates. You're receiving romantic getaways. You're receiving whatever it is that you desire to be having. And in this present moment, bin off the fact that he hasn't texted you in a few days. Who cares? It's just a text. Your end result comes from you changing your state of awareness. By you focusing on, oh, he hasn't messaged me in 4 days, what do I do? You're just placing your awareness on the lack of having what it is that you want to have. Anytime someone says, what do I do? The answer is always go to the end result. Bin off whatever is happening in front of you. Stop caring about it. Stop wasting your time and energy on it, and go back to the end result, because that's where you're going to create what it actually is that you want to have. Because even if he does message you right now, is that the end result? Probably not, unless you absolutely are only wanting text as your end result. So even if you were to have your phone ring 10 minutes from now and it's a lovely phone call from him, or it's a notification that he's texted you, the same what do I do then applies now. You still want the end result, so still go back to the end result. Nothing you experience will ever change the place that you go back to. It's just about binning off all of these little, like, caring about the, I know obviously they're important to people, but stop caring about the things that aren't the end result, basically. Stop caring about what this 3D is doing and just redirect yourself back to the end result, because that's where you're going to create what you want. Dr. M says, a video on physical changes would be great. Congratulations for the 10K. Thank you very much for the kind words on the 10K. And I can definitely add the video on physical changes to the list of videos. I personally have not really used it for physical changes myself, so I probably wouldn't be speaking too much on personal experience, but I have worked with a couple of people, not many admittedly, on it, who have had some sort of decent successes with it. So maybe I can get in contact with them and just, see how they did it and what they did and stuff like that. Maybe do it as a bit of a success story video as well, but it's something I will definitely take into consideration. But that is actually a good time for me to mention the 10K. So yesterday evening, or the day before, we finally hit 10K subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you all so much for the support to get us there. Every like on a video, every comment on a video, every click on a video. And I don't know if you guys are too familiar with the YouTube algorithm, but surprisingly, the length of time you watch a video makes a huge difference. So anyone that supported me in any one of those ways, thank you so much for doing it. I intend to do a discount for both the coaching and the membership, and probably anything that's actually available to be bought. as one of the things. I'm thinking about doing a 10-day video spree, so a long form video every day for 10 days. And Katie come up with a cool question, a cool idea of a competition, which I need to work out how to do it. But for 10 winners, they can email me and get 10 questions answered for free. So basically, essentially, email coaching, but 10 questions, which I still need to work out how I'm going to do the competition and such. But those are the things that I'm thinking about doing as a sort of thank you for getting me to 10K subscribers, as well as a couple of weeks ago, I put up a video, a community post asking what people wanted, and people were sort of saying a few video ideas and giveaways and stuff like that. So I'll probably take those into consideration also. So if you guys do have any other ideas while we're in this live stream, put them down below in the comments, like here. And yeah, I'd absolutely love to hear what you have to say. But that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. But thank you all so much for helping me get to 10K. The next goal is 35K, just because I've had that number in my head for a little while. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. But yeah, thank you all so much. Lily M. Oh, Lily M had more to her things. Lily M also said he initially told me he wanted to be friends after breakup and that he's happier now. It's hard for me to let that thought go. I think that's why he's hot and cold. Been working on self concept. Working on self concept in any instance is always going to be a very beneficial thing. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. But like I said, it's never worth placing your awareness and focus and wasting your time and energy on things that aren't even your end result basis. If I read that part of the comment as well, I probably would have, it may have varied what I said a little bit more, because you mentioned that you can't let the thought go that he's happier since the breakup. But yeah, self-concept is definitely something that is going to benefit you. Going back to the end result is definitely something that's going to benefit you. Anything he says and does in the 3D reality right now is just a projection of old thoughts playing out. It is essentially like you're being beaten up by a memory, which, how are you going to fight a memory? So you may as well just go straight to the end result, because your current thoughts will become your future's present moment. So if you don't like your current present moment, that's because you didn't get your previous thoughts in order. So learn from that mistake and get your today's thoughts in order. Like I said in this live stream at some point, you have complete control over your mind. The same mind that is thinking those thoughts that you don't like, you do have complete control over, even if it does feel difficult. So find a way to anchor your awareness to something else. And then when you feel better, choose the new thoughts. Victory3002 says, hi, how can I manifest a change of my past grades? I'm asking because I think I need to somehow retake or revise it, but I don't know how to do that really. So this depends on how much into the revision world you want to go. There are coaches out there that said that they've revised things and it's quite literally changed the physicalities in front of them. The example that I always use, just because it's the one that's stuck in my head for some reason, is Sammy Ingram saying that she lost a bag of shopping or something. She revised it and then it randomly appeared in her kitchen. If you want to go to that degree, then it would literally just be a case of revising the grade itself and just changing the either image of said grade, or while affirming a new grade overall, which isn't necessarily a bad idea to do so. But one thing that I do want to point out specifically in regards to this situation is grades are usually a means to an end, i.e., no one that wants to change a grade wants it. Well, I'm not going to say no one, because there will be some perfectionists out there, but most people that want to change a grade don't want to change it just to have that grade. There's usually I want this grade so I can go and get this job, or I can go get this pay, or I can go get XYZ thing. If that's your reason, I would recommend you actually use that time and energy to just focus on the manifestation that you desire to have, which is that job or that university course or XYZ thing, because there's no reason why you can't manifest getting accepted for something without the grade, just the same as there's no reason why you can't change the grade through revision in terms of an internal standpoint. So what I would recommend is, if that is your reason, you may as well just save yourself the middleman and go straight to the end result of having the job or university course, whatever it is that you need that grade for, already, instead of changing the grade and then having to go and do all the work to get the job anyway, or whatever it is that you're going for. But if you want to go the sort of Sammy Ingram way of revising, just simply change either the image of what you see on that grade paper, or if you're affirming to yourself, change what you're stating about the grade itself. I have got 37 points when in actuality you got 20, but you want 37, and go about it like that. Or go about it my way, which is go to the end result of having what you want that the grade was going to help you achieve. Meredith says, do you find that you run up against resistance or symptoms when you are attempting to impress something on your subconscious? What are some symptoms of shifting into a new reality you have experienced? So if you're talking about me specifically, I run into resistance? Not really. When I got into it initially, yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure that's probably the case for most people, that it's very easy to run into resistance and such things like that. But me now, no, I don't really. And if I do, I just keep going anyway, because resistance is essentially just your mind saying, this is the story that we have impressed. You're essentially trying to tell us something different is true. That's not familiar to me. So I'm going to push back. That is essentially what resistance is. Now, if you give up because of that resistance, you are just saying that what your mind has stored is true and it's just going to keep it in play. So even if I do have resistance, which is very rare now, I will just keep going anyway because it doesn't benefit me to let resistance win. Giving you a more 3D example, resistance is like when your muscles start to ache at the gym. You don't stop the second it begins to ache because you're never going to grow anything. You push past that aching, you get to a point where you just keep going until obviously your workout's done essentially. That's the same thing here. You're never going to grow if you allow the resistance to stop you in your tracks every time. So there's no point ever letting it do so. Or symptoms, and then you say, so do you find that you run up against resistance? So obviously I answered that. Or symptoms when you're attempting to resist something on your subconscious mind. Okay, so what I would experience when I was experiencing resistance is feeling like I'm lying to myself. That's one thing. I did actually do a video on resistance a couple of weeks ago, so I'd recommend you check that out because it gives you more ways to move past it. But feeling like I'm lying to myself, feeling like I wasn't good enough for it, asking myself sort of how could that even happen? Those were sort of the general ways that I would feel resistance coming in. Um, Sometimes like a bit of an unease feeling, as in like it, pretty much is this even going to happen, but in feeling form as opposed to thought form. That was kind of some of the symptoms, I suppose. And then you said also, what are some symptoms of shifting into a new reality you have experienced? Feeling more calm, just out of nowhere, just being like, it's all good, it's going to happen. Feeling more abundant in regards to that thing. So being able to easier say, oh, I can afford it anyway, or something like that. Just essentially being more aligned with having as opposed to not having. Need a drink. Have I got a drink? No, I don't have a drink. Yes, please. Thank you. Me says, hi, should the end state be what you want to experience now or in the coming future? My end state is being happily married to him, but right now I want better communication, quality time, and responsibility. So yeah, juice, please. I recommend your end state be what you want to wake up in tomorrow. That is your end goal. The reason being is you want the better communication, quality time, responsibility, and such things like that. Because, like, well, I'm not going to tell you how you're thinking, but the way that I would assume it to be is logically you're looking at it like it needs to be this before it can become this. But what we need to remember is in order, let's say, for example, you obviously mentioned their marriage, right? Happily married to him. Yeah. You want a happy, loving marriage. Let's say, for example, your affirmation is, I am happily married to person. In order for you to be happily married to person, that must imply that you're getting what you want out of that marriage. That must imply that you're getting the quality time. Thank you. The quality time, the communication, the responsibility, and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't be happily married. You would be unhappily married. So by going to the end result, everything that happens in the interim is worked out for you and pieced together, which means to get you to that marriage, that happy marriage, you will receive the quality time, the responsibility, the communication, and XYZ thing to lead you up to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to call it a happy marriage because remember, your subconscious mind gives you what you're claiming to be true. So based on that, I recommend going to the end result based on what you would be happy to wake up in tomorrow. If you don't want to be married tomorrow and you just want to be in a relationship, dating, and having those qualities, then go for that. But if you want to be married, but you're just concerned that those things need to change before you can accept marriage, then take into consideration what I just said a second ago, where if you reside in the end result of having happy marriage, that must mean that the things changed along the way to get you there anyway. But I recommend end result is always the thing that you absolutely want as the dire end result.